Oh, we're waiting. Yeah, I've heard south stands.
You have to, I know.
Am I going to every 6 months as well? They will. What's the other part? Hello?
Whatever.
Say that again? Or on the other side, got it, gotta go. I'll move first over here. My stuff.
Sure.
I remember Hugo, yeah. Wow. Okay, everybody, meeting is called to order. All board members, if you haven't taken your seats, please take your seats now. Thank you very much. All righty. First order of business tonight, do we have conflicts by any board members on anything that's on the agenda? Okay, I see Denise has raised her hand.
I have a conflict on the Malama Pupukea Waimea presentation for this evening.
Okay, do you take any money from them?
No.
Okay, good.
Sorry,
No,
anybody who knows would know.
Yeah,
Unpaid.
generally speaking, we recuse ourselves when there is a financial back and forth. So for example, in the past, when Board of Water Supply has come before this board, I've recused myself because they pay my paycheck. But most nonprofits, we don't distinguish because they're not taking money anyway. But it is entirely up to the board member if they choose to recuse themselves or not, but it's not illegal or wrong if they choose to vote on the issue. I just want to make that clear. Thank you very much. Any other board members have issues with anything on the agenda? No? Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a vacant seat in Waialua. Do we have anyone who is interested? I know we have one young gentleman back there. Come on up. Sorry, I know you're eating. Too bad. Come forward. Okay, please come to the microphone, introduce yourself, tell us, you got about a minute to tell us why you want to sit on the board, who you are and what you do.
Right, Andrew Weichland, live up here on the North Shore, been up here for about 10 years. I'm a coastal engineer working with the community. I run a nonprofit for Hawaii Shore and Beach Preservation Association, and the company that I work with, Integral Consulting, we just opened an office up in, right next to Starbucks and 7-Eleven right there. So been in the community for 10 years, lived in Hawaii for 20 years or so, and just looking to give back to the community in any way that I can.
Okay, great, thank you. Anybody else who is interested in the Waialua seat? I see none. Does anyone have a question or two for Andrew? No? Do we have a motion to nominate? Denise nominates. We do not need a second. Okay, and then we'll do roll call, okay? And just say A or nay.
Dave. Dave. Berlu. Amy. George. Cheryl. Carol not here. Leaf. Uncle. Saz. Carol. Debbie. Denise. Charlene. Bob.
Aye.
Blake not here. Kathleen. 2, 4, 2, 11. Welcome. True.
Welcome, Andrew, and it'll be nice to have a coastal engineer since we have so many issues that we deal with this. So it'll be nice we'll be tapping your expertise. So we're going to call a very brief recess and he will swear you in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right in.
Oh.
You got to write your name in on the bottom.
You good? Okay, I'll gavel us back in. And then Andrew, you'll just have to squeeze in on this side of the table wherever you can. There comes Dave Burluth. Hi, Dave. Okay, moving on to city reports. Do we have Honolulu Fire Department here tonight? I'm not, oh, there he is. Hi, come on in.
Good evening. I'm firefighter. Oh. Good evening. I'm firefighter one, Reese Yonehiro. So tonight, the statistics provided below represent confirmed number of incidents in the neighborhood board's geographical area for the month of September 2025. For more details on the incidents and related mapping information, please visit the fire response search tool on our HFD website at fire.honolulu.gov under the News and Info tab. And should you have any questions, please email hfdnhb@honolulu.gov. Incident statistics for September 2025. 7 wildland and brush fires, 4 nuance fires, and 1 activated alarm with no fire. Emergencies, we have 46 medicals, 14 motor vehicle crash/collisions, 1 mountain rescue and 1 ocean rescue. Nuance fires include rubbish fires outside a structure or vehicle. Fire safety tips and announcements. The fire safety tip, seasonal decorations. Holiday season just around the corner. Consider fire-resistant, non-combustible decorations. Choose only Underwriters Laboratory approved electrical decorations and follow manufacturer's instructions for installation and load. Use lights that are in good repair. Always turn off lights before leaving your home or going to bed. Do not overload power strips, surge protectors, and extension cords, and never leave candles unattended. Secure lighters and matches out of reach from children.
Thank you very much. Board members, any questions? Community, any questions for HFD? Yes, go ahead, Amy.
Is this on? Is there any concern of cocoa trees coming down in any upcoming storms, negligent homeowners with the dying coconut trees?
Right now, at this moment, I'm not too sure, so we'll get back to you with that information.
Yeah, I'm not sure who monitors that. There's so many in my neighborhood that are just dead for 9 months.
Okay, so I see Representative Peruso and Kelly here for Matt Wire. So if you guys could write that down and try and find out who Amy can contact for the coconut trees. That's great. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you so much for coming tonight. We
you.
appreciate it. Mahalo. Next up, we have Honolulu Police Department. We have a special guest tonight. HPD, there you are, Lieutenant Besa. Nice to see you.
To be seen. Thank you. Hi, Lieutenant Romel Baisa with the Honolulu Police Department, the Waihoa Police Station. I have Sergeant Lucius Crab. He is the sector sergeant for tonight for the Haleiwa, your guys' area, Haleiwa, Wailua, and North Shore. I also have our new acting major, Kurt Ng. I have talk after, but I know you guys want the stats first. As if you're related to him. For the previous month in you guys' area, happy enough to announce 0 assaults, only 1 burglary case that's a breaking into somebody's house. we've had about 20 motor vehicle collisions. Those are the car accidents, but these include anything from a fender bender to the major accidents. Of that 20, we only had, I think, 2 that are the major accidents. 0 robberies, always a good thing. 1, a break into a motor vehicle, unauthorized entry to a motor vehicle, big drop from last month. And then about 883 calls for service. I also report the citations given for this neighborhood board. We gave about, for the whole district, which includes Mililani and Wahiawa, we gave about 222 parking citations in the previous 30 days, 880 traffic infractions, 140 traffic crimes, 17 criminal citations, and we made 73 arrests with 117 charges. Safety tip being that Halloween is coming up. Please do not let your children go trick-or-treating alone. Have them stay in a group or with an adult. Set up a routine and also a curfew for your children if you're going to let them go with others. Never go into strangers' homes. Wear light-colored or reflective clothing. Use sidewalks and stay off the roadways. Examine the trees for signs of tampering before consumption. And if you see any extra suspicious activities while trick-or-treating, call 911. It's Halloween, so everybody looks suspicious. Drivers, please slow down, especially in residential areas, and stay alert for pedestrians on roadways, especially those coming out of between cars and bushes. I do have a couple things to bring up. One was the complaint regarding the Haleiwa Distilling Company. We have our officers making checks on them. My understanding is they're closed Monday and Tuesday, and they're open only until 9 p.m. the rest of the days. And if the calls are coming in, we do respond to the noise complaints. But if you guys do have any further complaints, please call 911. Have our officers respond to that. And then the only other thing I got is there is a bull, please be careful, on Kakonahor Road between Kamana Nui and Wilikina Drive. It comes out every so often. It's a black and white bull. We don't know who owns it. We contacted the ranchers. They said it's not theirs. It's a wild bull. I don't know, but I'm yeah. And that thing is gonna be dinner after. But if you guys know who owns it, please let us know. Reach out to us, and then we'll try to.
It's a shame Raquel's not here right now.
If not, I'm gonna introduce our acting major, Kurt Ng.
Hi, I'm Kurt Ng. It's good to be here. Thank you guys very much.
Oh, no, you don't get off that easily, sir. What year you grad Waialua? No, he actually is from Waialua, grew up in Ranch Camp. So we're very grateful to have you. And I know you have a special connection to the community. So thank you for that. Okay, any questions? We'll start with George. Thank you.
Yeah, I wonder, could you elaborate on the 17 arrests? Categories maybe, or you said there 17 arrests?
I did 73 arrests, 117 charges. So those range anywhere from DUI, right, driving under the influence, to warrants. Yeah, we have a lot of warrant arrests, and a lot of domestic violence cases in our district. So again, our district includes Mililani, Wahiawa, and all the way to the North Shore by the convalescent home. So yeah, 73 arrests for those.
So it's 73 for the whole district, George, not just North Shore.
Right.
Okay, go
73.
ahead, Bob.
So when you folks give your recommendation, my recommendation to you is that one of your recommendations be to give people the right of way. It's amazing how many people have to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And even driving down here tonight, there was a party at 4, the sun had set, it was dark. And I saw a bunch of cars go by. It says Chun's Reef, so there's no crosswalk. And there's this whole family. There's a baby and medium, and she's flashing a light. She's trying to say, "Here we are. Please don't run over us. We'd like to cross the street here." And I don't know how we change that, except you guys have the public's ear every now and then, and maybe that can be one of your recommendations: is give the right of way. It only costs you a couple of seconds and you're right back on the car. Ocola, you were behind, in a minute or two anyway. So anyway, that's my suggestion.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you for that.
Community, any questions for HPD? Yes, Luann, please come up.
Question. I just wanted to thank you for, I see every so often we have a regular policeman at Chun's Reef. Met him, I go and introduce myself. We appreciate it. It's a high theft area, said crossing the roads. So nice to have some neighborhood police we get to know.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you, General, for coming. And thank you, Major. So nice for you to see you. Thank you. Have a nice evening. Aloha.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Jesse King. I'm a lifeguard lieutenant for Ocean Safety. My captain, Vitor Marcal, couldn't make it tonight, so I'm here in his stead. I have some stats for you guys. So the North Shore District for Ocean Safety ranges from Kaena Point all the way to Kaneohe Bay. And within that stretch, we have 8 towers and 3 jet ski rescue craft units and 3 lifeguard lieutenant trucks that are also mobile responders. And we have an additional mobile responder unit that's designated for Kapo'o, which is the Sharks Cove 3 Tables area. So we have some stats that don't include the jet ski rescue crafts, but the towers themselves and the MR truck that is assigned to Kapo'o. So for the month of September, we had approximately 336 beach attendants at beaches with towers. So that's not including all the beaches that don't have towers. That's just where we have our stations. And that's between the hours between 8 and 6:30 p.m. Preventative actions. This is a key one for us. So we had over 30,000 preventative actions at the towered beaches. And that's a key thing, a key tool that we use for mitigating risk and for educating the public and redirecting them to safer areas where they won't get into trouble. Minor first aids, we had approximately 1,321 minor first aids, and those range from people getting Band-Aids to large lacerations and messy injuries that people get. We had 0 drownings for the month of September, which is great. And we had public contacts was 42,265. And that could be people just asking questions about where to go, or that could also be our preventative actions too. But ocean education is a key part in what we do in trying to keep people safe as well. And then approximately 22 rescues for the month of September. And that's just the towers, including that one mobile responder unit. So most of those rescues that occurred during the month of September were mostly surf injuries. And then a small portion of that might have been medical events as well. And then a smaller portion of that was people just getting in over their heads in an area that they probably shouldn't have gone to. And but I will say that 22 rescues is a pretty small number. And I give a lot of credit to the high number of preventative actions that we do, because intervening before people get into the trouble is the biggest kicker in trying to keep people safe. So.
Thank you, Jesse. Good report. Appreciate
Thanks.
it. Any questions for Jesse? Bob?
I'm always curious what the most dangerous break is. And there's a couple of ways to look at it. The place where the most people die, or the most people get a ride in an ambulance, or the most emergency room visits. And can you take that data and back it in to the locations that are the highest risk?
Yeah, actually, I mean, if we're going to talk about beaches with towers, it's a little easier. Right. Doesn't have a tower. Yeah. Yeah. The numbers are much lower at places like Velzeeland, but there are a few places that the numbers are very high that don't have towers as well. Keiki Beach being one of them. But Station 27, that is their area of response, but it isn't the primary area immediately in front of that station. And I would say on a personal level, being born and raised here, Keiki Beach is the most dangerous beach on the entire island. However, but in terms of the numbers, I would, going back to the attendance, the most popular beach that we have on the North Shore is Waimea Bay. And shortly followed behind that is Kapo'o, which would be the Sharks Cove, Three Tables area. In terms of the amount of rescues we do, Waimea Bay is the highest.
Thank you, Jesse, and thank you for teeing up Denise so nicely tonight. Any questions for ocean safety? Not seeing any. Jesse, thank you for coming. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Okay, next up, Board of Water Supply. We had one main break last month on Kakonahua Road, 1161. Probably that's a 6-7. On the 17th of September, it was a 12-inch water main. And again, we're reminding people, as always, to reduce your water usage as much as you can. We're asking for 20% these days. We've been in a terrible drought. We've had more months below normal rainfall than we've had above normal rainfall or even at normal rainfall. So it's been pretty not wonderful. We hope that, unlike last year, that our friends at the weather are accurate in their weather report. Last year it was supposed to be very rainy, and we had a December that was 17% of normal. So we're hopeful that that is not going to be repeated this year. So last month, Board Member McElhaney had asked me about golf courses and who gets what water from where. And so I provided everybody a copy of all the golf courses on the island of Oahu, which is the only island that we service. And it tells you whether or not it's owned by private ownership or government, what kind of water is used. And this is just for the golf course. This is not for the clubhouse or a restaurant or anything. This is strictly for the golf course, because that's really what people get upset about. Where it's located, and then any notes that we might have. So you will see we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 out of probably, God only knows how many. About 7 are on recycled water, and they're all pretty much, with the exception of Turtle Bay, on the west side of the island, where we have our Honouliuli plant, which is co-located next to ENV's waste cycling water sewage plant. And then you'll also see that a lot of them actually have their own private wells. So not all of them are on BWS. A couple notes. We are working with MidPac out in Kailua to do a turf replacement type of project using native species grass, which are low water using grasses, versus the typical grasses that they like to use on golf courses, which are very thirsty. And if that is successful, we are definitely going to look at expanding that project. And then the last one is the Kaneohe Golf Course. That is actually on the Marine Corps base. And they are actively working with the Department of Health to get their R1, Recycled 1 water system up and running. They've had a number of issues trying to get it certified, but we send them letters every quarter reminding them that they're on potable water and they need to get off potable water as quickly as possible. So any questions for me? Anybody? Yes, Leaf.
I've said many times that we're going to run out of water. And what is the state going, what are they going to do, or what are they doing to control our water use? Everybody says, oh, we get plenty of water. And then they say, conserve water. So are we doing something so that we don't run out of water in the future, to control our use?
That's why we ask you to conserve water. Yes, it is. That's one of the answers. But we're also, well, I can't help you with that, Leaf. I'm sorry. That's out of my purview. I can't help you. But that's why we ask to conserve, because that does help maintain the water supply. We also are working on a desalination plant out in Campbell to get the industrial users that use potable water off of potable water. That's to be about hopefully 3 million gallons ultimately. And just being careful with our resources. I mean, it is, as Leaf points out, it's not an infinite resource. We're very blessed. We have our geology has given us a lot of water on this island compared to the neighbor islands. But, you know, if we have to, we have plans in place for water shortages and things like that. But we do not ever, hopefully ever want to get there. So that's why we keep asking people to conserve water. And if we all do our part, we will have plenty of water for generations to come. Yes, George, then Bob.
Yeah, is this on? Yeah. So in the water conservation area, in a past life, I was president of a nonprofit water and energy conservation group that started in New England and went national and then had some international attention. So if you remember early in the water conservation movement, there were these little washers, they call them widgets, that you would put in before your shower head. Now the average shower head produces about 16 gallons a minute. Those big round ones with that wonderful rain coming down, they're 24 gallons or more a minute coming out of that shower head. So what happened was that people started putting the widgets in, and that 16 gallon a minute shower head was like dead. So they took them back out and said, conservation doesn't work. But we worked with a manufacturer to develop a shower head that uses 2.5 gallons a minute. And we proved to people with town-wide distributions that it gave a better shower than your 16 gallon a minute shower head. And they sell them at Ace. You can buy them on Amazon. And they're a significant design change from your original shower head. There are also things you can put in the toilet. If you have a 5 gallon toilet flush, there's little water dams you can put in there that still give you a good flush, but only use 2 to 3 gallons a minute per flush.
Okay, thank you, George. Thank you.
Turn off the water when you're washing your hands. Shower with a friend.
Okay. Just so you know, the plumbing code is such that you can't have those high flow shower heads anymore. You can't. So that is a good thing. So that, and we actually will go into, we have a program where we've gone into like affordable housing and senior housing to change out high flow. You also can't get 5 gallon toilets anymore. They're 1.28, and we have $100 rebate. So if you go out and buy a toilet, most toilets, you can get a decent toilet for about $100 these days. It's practically free. You still got to pay for the plumbing though. So thank you, Bob.
You know, Leaf's question was, what's the state going to do about it? What the Board of Water does about it is plenty, 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 plenty. I've seen so many presentations. There's so many things they do to try and conserve water. But I think Leaf's question is a really good one. What's the state going to do about it?
That's good. We'll punt to Amy on that one. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, Saz.
While we're on the topic of water, I was just wondering what the Board of Water thinks about the dangerous levels of the PFA in the water supplied by the Army in Cunilla in well 3 and 4. And I was just wondering if the military has an update or releasing the studies or anything on it.
Okay, well, you do not want to get me started on that. We consider it terrible, obviously. It's really awful. We do know that they're going to try and dig a new well out there that hopefully, and they have to put in what we call a granulated activated carbon treatment system, otherwise affectionately known as GAC. And it sucks. It really sucks. And we have asked for information. I don't think we've received anything yet, but we do ask because our facilities are just down the hill from that. So luckily, we already have GAC units in place. So we take it very, very seriously. And no, we don't like it that the fact that the military has facilities and they're not very good about sharing information. So thank you. Great question. Any other questions? Yes, Leaf, last one.
Since you brought it up, the Cuneo wells. What, what's being done to mitigate that problem with that?
Our Cuneo wells or the Army's Cuneo wells? Dave had a, okay, that's private, that's Army, and that's what, she was just asking about that. Yeah, so that's what Zaz was just asking about, that we've asked for information, but we haven't yet received it, so, yeah. No, not anymore, I don't think. Okay, moving right along, we have residents' concerns. If you have something you wish to share. So Andrew, tonight you get special dispensation. You get to go up and do your thing, but normally board members don't because this is truly for the community to come up and say it. But we'll let you go first and get you out of the way. He was here to announce something and then ended up on the board. He will never come to another meeting. After that, then anyone who wishes to, you have 2 minutes, just come to the front and you'll have 2 minutes. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Andrew.
All right, thank you. Just want to let everybody know that this Saturday from 10 till noon at Sunset Beach Elementary School in the cafeteria, we're having our first North Shore Beach Management Plan General Community Meeting to essentially discuss the erosion hazards on the North Shore and let the community know what options are on the table and try to get community input to figure out what it is that the community wants to do to mitigate the erosion hazards and, you know, give us some more time to figure out what we want to do and can do in the face of sea level rise. This Saturday, November 1st, from 10 till 12, Sunset Beach Elementary School. And there's a flyer up here on the table, so feel free to grab one.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. Any other residents' concerns? Michelle?
Same day, Saturday. Can I go?
No, you can't.
Well, I thought they said we couldn't, and they said we could. but
No,
now
no,
we
no.
can't.
Sit down. Michelle gets to go first.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Michelle Casimiro here. I'm the Student Activities Coordinator for Wailua High and Intermediate School. So some announcements. In mid-September, we had some wonderful homecoming activities. Some of them being our parade, our night events, football game with halftime show, and our dance. In October, we celebrated our football, cheer, and band seniors after our last 70-12 win over Kaimuki's football team. This past Saturday, band had their annual haunted house event, which once again was a great success. And this week we are enjoying some fun Halloween activities on our campus. Next week, we will begin taking donations to create our Thanksgiving baskets for some nominated families that are in need. And then, next week, Saturday, we have our annual Fall Craft and Food Fair. That's November 8th. And it's from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the front lawn that's fronting Farrington Highway. Okay. And this event provides an opportunity for our classes and our clubs to fundraise, connect with community, as well as giving our community vendors an opportunity to, you know, sell their goods, especially as we are getting closer and closer to the holidays already. And that's it. That's all I have.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Always great to see you.
Nice to see you guys too.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah, Cheryl, real quick.
Question for Michelle. If community wants to donate for the Thanksgiving basket,
Yes.
how do we do that?
So all you have to do is just come and drop it off at the at our office, and they will probably be calling me to notify me. But you know, the things that you can donate are the typical, like what is it, like the stuffing mix, you know, all of that kind of stuff. We already have some people actually donating the frozen turkeys, but it's a really nice thing, especially for families that receive, you know, and these nominations will often occur because, well, through our counseling department, we might know of families that are in need, or you can just tell too, you know, some students are miss, you know, there's a family I know that, can we help them out? So that's how we find out who will nominate and provide this meal for. But I appreciate it. Yeah, you're more than welcome to bring items to our office. And in fact, we'll put something up on the website so that you know what kind of items that we'd be taking.
If you want to email me the information, I'll put it up on our Facebook page as well.
Okay, great.
Great. Thanks, Michelle. Great to see you.
Thank you, everybody.
Next, please.
So I'm Barb. I have a question, and I may be the biggest baboos, but coming around Goodale to where you hit Wailua Beach Road, there's now a stop sign where there used to be a yield sign. There wasn't, I just saw some guys putting up a sign one day and I just drove by anyway. And then coming back, I was like, whoa, I just ran a stop sign, and everybody runs that stop sign now. So like, what's up with that?
What stop sign where?
So, you guys, so if you come around the ball field and you're going to make a right this way, before there was a yield.
Oh, there's a stop sign there,
There's
not
a
a
stop
yield.
sign.
Oh, gotcha,
So
gotcha.
they changed, there's no warning stop sign ahead and everybody's just blazing through it.
Okay, Kelly, could you check into when they changed the yield to a stop sign there? Thank you very much. Thanks for bringing it up, Barb. Frank?
Aloha, yeah, along those lines too, they could put a stop bar there, because right now there's triangles, I think, but that's a new thing. My concern is about the first responder proposed center up across from Sharks Cove, Kapo'o. But I was wondering, would it be possible for that $30 million that the community would spend? How much would it be? Okay, maybe 25 to $30 million. How much did we pay for this lot over here that we're not going to be able to use for a fire station that was supposed to be put over here? Instead of building a center for just for the lifeguards and the EMS, why not move the fire station over there so that you could have a 1 mile long beach park all the way across from Sharks Cove to Three Tables? Then in a few years, when we need to rebuild a fire station, we have, we're being proactive and we already have the space for it. Instead of,
Want to move the fire station in Wailua too?
no, not Wailua, this is a Sunset.
Oh, okay.
But all the new fire stations are bigger than a half an acre. Currently, the Sunset Fire Station is about a half an acre. So I'm thinking, well, if you're going to put in a new first responder center, why not put the fire station over there too? Then you can get rid of that old building and let Parks and Rec have that whole area to renovate into a whole great beach park.
Okay, thanks, Frank.
Mahalo.
Appreciate it. Any other, yes, please. Yeah. Whoever's going next, come on, keep going.
This is my comment. I just want to.
Okay,
If you actually
Linnell,
look at
Linnell, you
my-
have to speak into the microphone, so thank you.
If you're really familiar with the Sharks Cove area, that is not one that we want to open up. We're trying, I'd like to see less people out there. Now, what you're saying, do away with the first responders center, right?
No.
And you want it moved where, here? Okay, so we'd really like to decrease the number of people that use that area. So if you open it up that way, it's only going to encourage more people. It's already maxed out and you have 2 toilets. I'm just saying that that's where I taught my kids to swim, my grandkids to swim, and now we don't even go to the beach because it's so crowded. You don't smell the salt air, you smell sunblock and suntan lotion. You take a dip in the water, you're looking for fish, you see legs. You know what I'm saying? So, all right.
Thanks, Linnell. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Sierra Martin. I am here tonight in representation of Kealoha West Oahu, KWO for short. We are a homeless outreach agency. We are a nonprofit agency. Our office is located in Kapolei, and we do service the North Shore area on Mondays. So I would just like to share the report that we have. Whenever we do give the report, we are reporting for the month prior. So this is for September. So for the month of September, KWO Outreach, District 2 and 3 received 4 community concern reports. And we encountered 28 individuals, of which 14 of them were service resistant. There are 9 households containing 11 people total that newly joined our program. And we are also in process of housing 1 household at this time. But we do have a total of 4 households that were referred to a housing program and still awaiting placement. So as you can see, our numbers are kind of small right now. I did leave our cards here on the table. But for those that will be watching, you can contact us at 808-728-5034. And our hours of operation are Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that is it.
Thank you very much. And thank you for continuing coming to our meetings. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes. Okay, one real quick second. Ma'am, could you just give the phone number really quick one more time? So sorry.
808-728-5034. And you can text or you can call. So this, if it's anything in regards to reporting homeless that you know, homeless that you see, that you think might want the service, want the help, we do a lot. We connect them to shelter. It's never forced, it's always optional. And then we also do a bunch of other stuff. We have mail service. That's a big issue in the homeless community. Receiving mail is like a way of life. We can't get one thing without the other. So that's one of the many things that we do, along with housing placement if it fits their needs.
Yeah. Thank you.
But yeah,
Thank you very much.
text or
We
call,
appreciate
please.
it. Okay.
Grab our cards too.
Okay. Thank you. Next, please. Thank you so much for waiting.
Hello, my name's Yvonne. I am a Wailua resident. And I just wanted to make everyone aware that there is a permit, a cluster permit for the land that is just about a little bit north of the Kane Hall Road right here, that backs or is right next to or adjacent to the Kukea Circle neighborhood. And it's open for comment and review if you're interested in some plans that are going in with the land there. That's Ag 2 land, and their proposed plan has some 5 farm dwellings, a farm itself, as well as a farm to table type operation that would be right off of Wailua Beach Road. So I encourage you to take a look at their proposed or their application. It has a ton of information. It's really interesting to look at. And they actually sent us this letter. So they're really, yeah, it's worth taking a look and seeing what some of the development plans are over here at the Ag Land. Thank you.
Thanks, Yvonne. Did you call them? Okay, great. Okay.
And the deadline is November 6th to just make comments.
No, thanks, Yvonne. Appreciate, good to see both you guys. They're my neighbors. I did send that notice to all the board members. So if you do feel like weighing in, unfortunately, the timing didn't work out for us. However, I have asked them to come to our January board meeting, so at least we can see the project. I think this may be the first agricultural cluster housing ever done in our community. This is unusual because everyone just likes to chop up ag land and stick houses all over the place. So it is kind of nice that they're putting it all in the back of the property and then, you know, using the rest of it for actually agriculture. So they will hopefully be coming to the January board meeting and we can at least hear and see what their plans are. So thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. Appreciate that. Okay, any other resident concerns? Linnell?
Since we talked a lot about water, fresh water, ocean water, just so that everyone is aware, the Navy is planning on reopening the Halava IL shaft. And that's going to open the door for them to also open up the Red Hill shaft. The problems with the Red Hill shaft has never been resolved So be aware, this is what's coming down the pike. So when a petition does come around as to whether or not you stand with the Board of Water Supply in recommending not to open or allow the Navy to go full tilt like they always do to open up those wells. So think about it. I know it's something that thousands of people on this island are unaware of. As you all know, military does control the narrative. So be aware, you have family and friends that live out that side. The problem has never been fixed, but they're going to go ahead and reopen. So think about it.
So just a bit of correction on that. They did put in the granulated activated carbon, a huge farm in an area that they said there weren't any problems. So thank you, Linnell, for bringing it up. We appreciate your steadfast support. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. We have 3 sets of minutes we do need to quickly approve. So I'm going to go through this rather rapidly. I did make some changes that I got from board members, so those have already been incorporated. So first set of minutes, July 22nd, 2025. Do we have a motion to accept? Bob, do we have a second? Carol, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any noes? Any abstention? July 30th, 2025. This was the special board meeting that we held regarding the Gondola Kamana Nui project up the hill. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes? Bob, do we have a second? Debbie, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? September 23rd, 2025, regular meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to accept? Bob, do we have a second? Debbie, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate all that. Okay, moving on to board business. Last month, we did not yet affirm the Health and Emergency Preparedness Committee. So board members, I did hand out tonight a list of our committees, and the Health and Emergency Prepared, I'm willing to step in temporarily as chair. So I will take the chair of that committee, and then we have Napua Casson Fisher, Antia Miller, Nash Witten, George Atkins, Raquel Chu, Johnny Aguirre, and Cheryl Matsumoto. And then the hope is it's once George gets his feet wet and understands the process, that he would hopefully take over his board as committee chair hopefully sometime next year. So if we have no questions or anything, do we have a motion to accept the committee? Bob, do we have a second? Charlene, is there anybody else that wishes to be on this committee? This is our health and disaster prep. SAS. Okay, great. Let's see, that's. Okay, that's great. Anybody else? Oh, Barb, great. Excellent. Thank you. Perfect. Since we have all our flooding stuff we're dealing with. Okay, if there are no further people who want to be on, all those in favor of the committee, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? And at least initially, for now, our meetings will be online just to keep it simple. That way we don't have to look for a meeting place or anything. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Moving on to, so every 10 years, the city puts together something called the Charter Commission. And I've been sending you guys information about this. And it's a chance for the public to weigh in on the city charter and to say, we need to fix this, we need to fix that. All of the suggested amendments are located on the city's website. And a lot of them, there's a number like having to do with the police commission. There's a couple having to deal with grants and aid, changing how that process is, expanding, giving more money to certain groups and things like that. So I worked with board members Achu and Antolini, and in front of the board, you have 2 possible amendments that we would like you guys to consider. And the first one, I will turn over to Board Member Antolini.
Mahalo. So the board members, you have back to back the proposed charter amendments, and there's extra on the table, but we'll go through them. I'll be presenting the one on the Awesome City Parks Fund. And then Raquel will present the other one along with Kathleen. So just to reinforce what Kathleen mentioned, the Charter Commission is a fairly obscure process to all of us, except when you open your ballot and it says there's a charter amendment and you go, what the heck is this, right? So now you have a chance to follow that process and to influence what shows up on the ballot. And that's very cool. It's only every 10 years. So we have a short window of time. Is it the 14th? 7th. Thank you. November 7th, any of you can submit something. So these are two ideas that we've come up with. We'd love to have neighborhood board support. But as Kathleen said, if you go in the portal, it's fascinating. Just look at what everybody has submitted. It's really cool. It's democracy in action. And before I talk about this one, what I want to say is it is citizen driven. The commission, the Charter Commission, really wonderful group of people. They came to Sunset Elementary 2 or 3 weeks ago. They are us, right? This is not like, they're just very community oriented people, and they want citizen driven ideas for the charter. So if you think about it, this is separate from City Council, which has its own rules, its own world, separate from the executive branch, right? Separate from the judiciary. This is like a fourth way for citizens to make law by affecting the charter. That said, the charter is like our Constitution, so you can't just put every, Christmas ornament on it. So, but the great thing is the Charter Commission will take submissions that are even written in like crayon on paper or submitted on the portal. They'll take it any way you want, and they'll work with it as a commission and see if it's something that they want to revamp and put on the November ballot. So
I'm going to
them in
interrupt
mind.
you right there. So.
No crayons?
Yeah, no crayons. But Denise just made a very important point. I encourage you to go online and look at what other people have submitted, because it is very interesting to see what's important to people, number one. Number two, we do not have to wordsmith this, guys. This is not about, oh, well, we should say it this way, should say it that way. All we have to do is literally take this piece of paper, submit it, and then they will hopefully say, wow, this is a fabulous idea. And they'll call me up and say, hey, what do you mean? This is how we're interpreting it. Is this what you meant? And then we'll say, yes, this is what we meant. No, this is not what. We don't have to write it in legalese, be it resolved, whereas stuff. So it's just basically, we just submit plain language. I mean, there's stuff on there. I was checking it today and people are just like, hate the police commission and it needs to be changed. It's that simple. So it's really, truly grassroots. It's just an opportunity for us to say, this is important. So thank you.
Yep, and there's one more important step to back up what Kathleen said, is the charter amendments that they propose will go back out to the public before they get put on the ballot. So there's a chance for us to all see what they've selected and proposed. Okay, that said, we have two really cool proposals. The reason that these floated to the top in our discussions is in the many, many years that we've had active community discussions, two city departments always rise to the top of our concerns for the need to be strengthened. Parks, or Department of Parks and Recreation, DPR, and DPP. So I'm just going to focus on parks. By the way, I acknowledge the Parks Committee, Raquel, Debbie, Erica, and Charlene. We have been visiting various parks along with, there were some other people who joined our meetings. And I would say universally, every park we visited needs more help. Would you agree with that? And so the idea is to lift up Honolulu parks to world-class standards, the kind of parks that you see in other wonderful cities, like, where we should be. Okay, so it's a little bit of a joke to call it the Awesome City Parks Fund, but it gets the point across. We want awesome city parks. So let me walk through the motion. So first question is, just grab your attention. Do our city parks meet your expectations? Should we have awesome world-class parks? So our policy goal, this is just one approach, is to double the city parks budget operating in CIP from approximately 190 million to 365. These are rough figures, all to be verified. Really importantly, this is not a new tax. It's a reallocation of how the real property tax is already allocated. So I'm going to walk through that. It does not raise taxes, but it clearly says from the voters to the city in the budgeting process, take this chunk, instead of putting it in the general fund, give it to parks. So it's a redirect of taxes that are already coming in and does not raise taxes. I put there the proposed parks budget for fiscal year 26. Again, there's a lot of nuance to these numbers, but it gives you a rough idea of their operating and their CIP. CIP fluctuates a lot, but just look at CIP, 71 million, not very much, gang. And operating 118 for all of Oahu. Then I put the current city charter provision, and this is important because there are 3 similar funds already set up in prior charter amendments voted on by the voters. So the voters set up these funds. The Clean Water and Natural Lands Fund, and Kathleen and I have both been on that commission, was set up by charter amendment many years ago. The Affordable Housing Fund, the Climate Resiliency Fund. And again, it takes that pot of money from the real property tax and it takes percentages or portions of percentages and says, yeah, we want it to go to these people. So basically, you're citizen legislating instead of going through city council and mayor budgeting. Did everybody get that? It's citizen driven budgeting. So the motion is the North Shore Neighborhood Board requests that the Honolulu Charter Commission submit the following proposed amendment to the November ballot, November 26th ballot, right? There's still a year to go here. And basically it would take 1% of that pot of money of the real property tax and put it into parks. And it would not affect, or the intent is to not affect the other funds that have already been set up. Then it adds a purpose clause, almost done here, at the very bottom. The purpose of the City Awesome Parks Fund is to ensure that the Department of Parks and Recreation has supplemental and ample funding to plan, create, support, maintain, and improve to awesome world-class standards our Honolulu Public Parks and Parks programs for all to enjoy. These funds shall add to and not replace the DPR budget amounts allocated in fiscal year 2026. So no shell game, yeah? The expected revenue, again, very rough figures, on my calculator on my phone based on some web research, is that if 1% were diverted or reallocated, it could potentially double their budget. Again, there are a lot of nuances there, but we wanted to offer that for consideration as a concept and certainly welcome any comments.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Board Member Antolini. I would just make one mini change. And here I am saying not to wordsmith, but only reason is because I was on the submission list today and there was a lady that put something in from Windward Parks only. So what I would like to say is maybe Oahu Parks instead of Honolulu. It's just real minor, but and then only because she was very specific, only Windward Parks. And so, which I thought was kind of weird. Bob, go ahead.
So there's hundreds of parks on the island. Everybody wants to park in their neighborhood. And so if this money goes up and becomes available, I'm wondering if there's any sort of thought about how it could be equitably split up. For instance, when Hanauma Bay got special funds, they could raise funds and they got money, all of a sudden it slid out the back door and started going to other parks. The whole subject of control is interesting, but I'm wondering if there should be some sort of a commission or something that oversees how this money gets split up. The mayor and the city council are so used to just saying, well, there's not enough money, that's why we didn't do it. So if there is enough money, I'm just wondering if there needs to be an additional control, that's all.
Go ahead, Denise.
There is actually a Parks Commission. Anybody ever heard of it? There is one. I haven't had a chance to look into what impact they have on the budget. But this is purposely pretty broad, but I think it's a very good comment. Will the money actually go to where it's intended to go? Good comment.
Yes, Andrew and then George.
Yeah, equitable was a really good word to use, and I question how that is determined. Because if you look at the tax base, maybe a lot of the tax base is possibly in town or other parts of the island. But as far as traffic goes and the number of people that are using our parts and the impacts on them is far greater than many other places in the island. So I think that the term equitable needs to be considered with how that's defined. I don't have the answer. It's just something that's worth considering.
Yeah, thank you. George?
Wonder if we might consider including an annual audit of these funds by the county auditor.
My only comment there is when I dove into the charter again is like the Constitution. And before that is added, and things can be added later, I would ask somebody to dive into the charter and determine if audits are something that are normally considered as part of the charter. There's no reason it can't be suggested to the commission and they can determine like, oh, this is, the wrong flavor, but it's sure, but I think for now, I prefer to kind of add that later in the discussion, if that's okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Denise. Any other board community, any questions or comments? Hey, so we have a motion on the table. Do we have board member Antolini? I'm assuming you're making the motion.
Yes, I'll make the motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Charlene seconds. Okay, do we have any further discussion? And just really quickly, I think we could include just the word equitable someplace. Board member, what do you think? Is that possible somewhere?
Everything's possible. And you wanted to change Honolulu to Oahu?
Yeah, just because I don't trust.
Well, how about, well, okay.
We can worry about the details in a bit, but if you're comfortable adding the word equitable, you and I can work on it where.
Suggestion's fine. It's gonna get changed anyway, so let's put it there.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, if there's no further discussion, I'm going to ask Soydell to do a roll call.
Dave, Amy, George, Cheryl, Andrew, Raquel, Uncle Leaf, Saz, I, Carol, Debbie, Denise, Charlene, Bob, Blake, Kathleen. Yeah, you got 1400.
Board members. Okay, next up, we have another one regarding DPP. Board member Achu.
Sorry. 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 I need my glasses. Okay, so the proposal for the North Shore Neighborhood Board to submit to the Charter Commission for an amendment for a new DPP enforcement authority and fund. Yeah. I don't know why you're just making me read this. I get all heated. So the question is obvious. Does DPP enforcement of land use, zoning, and building code violations meet your expectations? No. So, oh gosh, where do I dive in here? So DPP needs a stronger mandate, authority, and tools to do an effective job enforcing the laws that protect our communities from overdevelopment, illegal building, permit violations, and land abuse. Took a look around us. We're surrounded at every corner by those exact things. So that kind of leads to even our little discussion about water. You know, we've got all these projects that aren't compliant and they're applying for resources that are supposed to be for us. We're legit and they're not. Why should they get any of those resources when they're already strained? We're asked to conserve, but we're going to provide to a group that isn't even legitimate. And we need those situations addressed. The policy goal, significantly strengthen DPP enforcement in two ways. First, create a new DPP enforcement unit, and for areas currently under enforced, and for all units, support staff at sufficient levels and regions for all types of violations. And second, creating a new enforcement fund that reinvests fines into staffing, monitoring, and enforcement actions by all units and Corporation Council. So the motion would be the North Shore Neighborhood Board requests that the Honolulu Charter Commission submit the following proposed amendments for the November 2026 ballot. I'm going to try to read this as quickly as I can. Number one, amend Charter Chapter 15, Section 6-1503, power, duties, and functions of Director of Permitting and Planning. Be charged with the administration and vigorous enforcement of the zoning subdivision, park dedication, building, and housing ordinances and rules and regulations adopted thereunder, and any regulatory laws or ordinances which may be adopted to supplement or replace such ordinances. The director shall establish a new enforcement unit that has ample authority to enforce land use violations, including conditional use permits, special management area permits, subdivisions, and special use permits. All enforcement units shall have ample competent staff dedicated to enforcement in each council district on the island and have the duty to vigorously monitor, investigate, issue notices and orders of violation, visibly red tag to stop work of property owners and vendors, contractors, assess and impose substantial fines, and seek expedited remedial relief, including tear down of illegal structures, through administrative and judicial remedies with full support of dedicated enforcement attorneys at Corporation Council. Oh, okay. Number two, then add a new section, K, and renumber K to 1L, sorry. Okay, Planning and Permitting Enforcement Fund to support vigorous enforcement. One, the Planning and Permitting Enforcement Fund is established to receive all funds collected through penalties and fees assessed and collected for all violations of planning and permitting requirements and regulations. Two, all proceeds in the fund are to be expended excuse me, on supplementing the budgets of enforcement, including but not limited to funding Department of Planning and Permitting personnel assigned to work on investigation and enforcement and the dedicated enforcement support services of the City Corporation Council.
Thank you. Board members, questions, Bob?
I like everything in there. The thing about the funds coming back to the department, I'm not a legal guy, but is that a conflict of interest? Does he have an incentive to find the guy because it's going to put more money in his department? That's hypothetical, but I think I've heard of things like that happening.
Is that a
Might
bad
look
thing
at
in
that.
this case?
Just say it. We might want to look at that.
George?
Yeah, is there a way to set a timeline for this process to happen? Give them.
You don't put, I don't think, Denise, you put timelines in their charter. That would just be,
Right.
go ahead, Denise.
No, so assume the voters approve it, then it would be up to, there's a lot of implementation that needs to happen, right? So yeah, normally I don't think there's timelines, but again, you can suggest these things like once it gets rolling, yeah?
Yeah. Anybody else, board members? Yes, Charlene.
My question is, yes, I'd like vigorous enforcement, but my question is, am I wrong or right in how they is there a mechanism to collect the fines?
That'll be up to them to figure it out.
Because we don't have one now, as far as I can tell.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. But that's a good point, and that's something, when it comes back to the community, as Denise says, to talk about. I think that's a great idea. Frank, did you have something?
Hello, Chair. Yeah, I like all this stuff. But I wish, this is what I wish. First of all, like the vigorous is good, but I would say intentional enforcement, vigorous, intentional enforcement. But what I wish is we had some money amounts here. So with the parks fund, I understand, yeah, the parks, I like the parks. I go every day to the parks all around the island. But what I would say, if we had $175 million to enforce, permits that we have or the lack of permits, that would put some teeth into this. So if we had a way to put money into this, just like with the Parks Fund, if we could put money into this enforcement for departments of planning and permitting, then it would, say, oh yeah, we could just have guys roving around and then red tag them like you have the restaurants do now with the Department of Health, right? Red tag these places, because I know you don't have to even think very hard. There's places all around us that are illegally being built, illegally occupied. In my mind, it's substandard housing. It's like tenement housing. We have lots of problems with housing, but we don't have enforcement. So I think we got to have money in there somehow, like we have with the Parks Fund.
And I think again, to Denise's point, when it comes up around for community input, I think that would be great comments to put in there. Any other comments, George?
Just one comment. DPP doesn't do enforcement unless there's a complaint. If you know of an enforcement violation, you should call and complain. I know a neighbor who did it, and they were out there the next day. So it's up to us too to tell them. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. If there are no further questions or comments, Board Member Achu, you're making the motion to support this. Do we have a second? Leif Anderson seconds. Any further discussion? We'll do a roll call for the vote.
Dave, Amy, George, Cheryl, Andrew, Raquel, Leaf, Saz, Carol, Debbie, Denise, Charlene, Bob, Blake, Kathleen.
Thank you. And I think we may be the first board to do this. So I'm going to hustle and get these in right away so we can be the first board that does this. I didn't see anything from any other neighborhood boards, so we want to be the trendsetter here. Okay, so moving on to the main event. Again, I'm going to turn this over to Board Member Antolini, and she's got a nice little crew here tonight. We were going to look, I did send the board two motions, one for a bike path and one for the management. We're not going to take up the bike path tonight because the management, when we put everything together, we realized it was a lot, and we want people to have time to ask questions and really dive into the details. So we're only going to look at the management portion, and then next month we'll deal with the bike path portion. So go ahead. Thank you very much. And then I'll go get the lights, Jackie. Thanks.
Okay, so we do have a PowerPoint presentation, so you might want to shuffle, up to you. As you're shuffling, let me start by saying, thanking the chair for giving us the time on this agenda. This has been a long time coming, and we're very excited to present this to you tonight. I am now in my role, not as a neighborhood board member, but as the unpaid, just to verify, president of Malama Pupukea Waimea for the last 20 years, a volunteer president, which has been fantastic. I want to introduce you might not know this, you may or may not know, Uncle Bob co-founded the organization with myself and several other people 20 years ago. So thank you, Uncle Bob, for everything you've done, served on the board for a long time. And the crew with me here tonight, Jackie Lainau is our executive director, yay. Emily Summers, you're going to hear about the Marine Team research. She headed up our marine research this summer. And Callie Stevenson is our marine research supervisor. They are Wailua residents. And you will see when I introduce I think almost 90% of our marine team are North Shore. So very happy to present this to you. I'm going to give you some background on MPW and our project. And then we're going to end with what in the heck do we do about the overuse? And we do have a separate page motion that's here somewhere if you didn't get it. We did also make about 5 extra copies. And if you raise your hand, Emily will run one around to you. Yeah, you're welcome to take them. And here we go. Looking at the clock, 8:15, great. So tonight is what's called Act 31. I'll explain what that is. It's a progress update for you on the Pupukea Marine Life Conservation District Carrying Capacity Program. That's a long mouthful, and I will explain that. And our recommendations for access management measures. Some people say closures, but it's really a suite of measures to manage and to reduce visitor impacts to Kapo'o, Sharks Cove. You've heard us use both names. Kapo'o is a traditional name, popular name Sharks Cove. We're trying to get people to use the traditional name. And we'll talk about the tide pools and the cove. So next. All right, so our MPW, as I said, was founded in 2005. We are a Hawaii nonprofit, always focused on the North Shore and our community, our 2 Ahupua'a. Our mission is working to replenish and sustain the natural and cultural resources of the Pupukea Waimea Ahupua'a for present and future generations through active community stewardship, education, and partnerships. When we founded the organization, we were super ambitious. Right? We're like, oh, both Ahupua'a, everything. Well, we are small and mighty, but you'll see how we've really focused on the Marine Life Conservation District and particularly Kapo'o, just because we're small and we have a certain bandwidth, but we constantly think about it in terms of the 2 Ahupua'a and really rely on all of our partners. So you can see on the right, and I have my cards here too. If you want to take a card, cool new cards. They've got the MLCD map on the back and my card on the front. And basically it goes from Wananapo'oa Islets, which you can see in the photo on the far side of Waimea, south side. I don't like that term. And then Kulalua Point, where, right at the edge of Keiki Beach, right? It's about 100 acres, marine acres. It's the same size roughly as Hanauma Bay. Keep that in mind when we get to talking about management measures. It was not initially that large when it was founded, but it was expanded in 2002, 2003. I'm not going to tonight go into all the rules and regulations regarding fishing and harvesting and all of that, because we're really focused on impacts of people pounding Kapo'o. All right, next slide. So now you can kind of see the focus here on Kapo'o, the shallow tide pools. And how many of you know what those tide pools used to be back in the 30s, besides Uncle Bob? A quarry. That area was quarried out, and there's some amazing historical photos showing the quarrying. It was used for road construction. So the tide pools are in some sense artificial, but if you think about it, it was created in the 30s. Where are we now? It's almost 100 years later. And nature has reclaimed that, and I'll show you what an incredibly beautiful biodiverse area those tide pools are. But that's one of the reasons why they're so shallow. The cove is deeper, as you know. How many of you have been in the tide pools ever? In the cove ever? Good. How about in the last 5 years? Yeah, that's the problem. All right, that's where we're getting. So for 20 years, our focus has been on the Marine Life Conservation District. That's a state level designation for marine protected area. It's the highest level designation for the state. There are only 3 of those on Oahu, Pupukea, Hanauma. Can you name the third? Waikiki, yeah. Nobody knows Waikiki. Anyway, so we're going to keep making comparisons to Hanauma Bay. Most of our work, as I said, has been Kapo'o, but also Kuluomawa, 3 tables, which also has exploded through social media. So we do all kinds of things, everything we need to do to protect this place. And really our focus lately has been on protecting marine life and the beach from tourism and development, and really important to bring back residents. So it was really telling when everybody's like, I don't go there anymore because it's overrun by tourists, right? I mean, I think it's a common sentiment. We feel that. We've also done a lot of surveys to verify that, but we know that. Next. All right, so one of the things that we worked on for 3 years, we had meetings with DLNR to create the first ever management plan. I mean, imagine a marine life conservation district like that with no management plan. So it was a really wonderful process. So we had this great plan. And also our research over the years, I think I just want to blow your mind a little bit. So just at Kapo'o, in the tide pools in the cove, our marine team and their predecessors have identified over 80 species of fish. Think about that, right? It's the coolest thing. 27 species of invertebrates, 13 coral species, 54 different species of native limu. And I'm going to channel Jenny Yagadich here, our Director of Education in Makai Watch. And she wanted me to add so far because the research keeps continuing. That place is hot for biodiversity, but you wouldn't always know it. Sometimes you go in and you just go, yuck, you know, there's nothing there, but there's a lot there. So the management plan, the thing is, you know, it's sitting on the shelf and it's really aimed at agency partners. We need to do something. The community needs to keep driving this. Next. We offer a bunch of educational programs. As in our 20th year here, we're starting to kind of talk about what our impact is in 20 years. We have a program for Keiki, local youth, grades 4 to 8. And we even did one for babies and parents. We remove invasive weeds and shrubs from the area. We've planted over 12,000 native plants in the area. You can come to our work days. We removed over 10 tons of rubbish. So we're doing everything we can as a nonprofit and stewardship group. But look, yeah, you're right, Jackie. Look at the people. So when you drive by, you might see a piece of this, but we're down there all the time, documenting, counting people. I'll talk a little bit more about our human use counts, but look at the erosion on both sides. This, you know, the cocos, we can talk about the cocos later. And then this is on the others, the northern side of the restrooms. But I mean, the number of people has exploded. Next. And then that was just the land photo, right? Now we're on the marine side in the water, huge, huge numbers of people. And the other thing, there's so many things that have changed. Look at the shoes that people are wearing. I mean, people are wearing tennis shoes, reef shoes, water shoes. They're kicking the crap out of the reef. I mean, it really is harmful, approaching turtles. We'll go into some numbers a little bit later, but that's just to give you a visual. And again, if you drive by, sometimes just get out of your car and go down and look. It's peak hour. It's amazing. Next. All right. So this Act 31 program is about carrying capacity. Really, how much can wildlife or marine life stand, right, before it crashes? So there's many different ways to define carrying capacity. We're looking at marine life. We're looking at the public infrastructure, which gets hammered, your recreational experience, cultural connections that are frayed when this abuse happens, the lack of resident access, the lack of resident quality of life because this beautiful, beloved area is being harmed, safety of all users, first responder safety. You heard what Jesse said. The numbers are unbelievable. It's a big strain on agency budgets and staff when a place is overrun. And honestly, for our little organization, we're stretched and we're really stretched. Next. All right. So it was actually Senator Gil Riviere who introduced this bill in 2022 that became Act 31. And it's a 3-year program to basically gather information on what's going on down there in the sensitive shallow water areas, which is Kapo'o. And we, thanks to the legislature, they gave us a budget of $270,000 that came to DLNR and then the Division of Aquatic Resources. And so we have spent that on hiring people, marine researchers, SSFM, which is technical work, doing surveys, all kinds of things. And we're almost done. We're wrapping it up like right now. We also have a very large advisory team that many of you are on. So this is our Mackay project team. Some of them are here in person. I would encourage you to talk to Emily and Callie afterwards. We have had 3 solid years of marine teams that are in the water at least 2 days a week in the tide pools in the cove, Kaluamau. We just expanded, and it's a lot of work. I mean, the total number of transects this past summer was transect runs, was 4. How many? 1,500 over 3 years, for 4 years. That's running a transect. So a lot of work. Next. Then we had a Malka project team. As Kathleen said, we'll get to the bike path or the shared path extension project, but there's many other projects. You can see some of the folks involved. Okay, how do we collect data? We actually do human use data collection through standing in certain areas and counting, and then we have a little app that we use. We've been doing that for 15 or more years. We do observation. The marine researchers were when they're in the water, they count fish, and then they turn around and count people. And it's shocking what they found, and we'll share some of that. We have a people cam up there that's taking time lapse of the tide pool. So we have that gives us a very solid non-subjective count, right? And then that's put into a computer. And then you heard the lifeguard counts at Sharks Cove in August of 25, 76,000 people in August. I mean, yeah, it is amazing. So there's different ways you count people. Next. So here's some of our shocking statistics. So the number of people in the tide pools doubled between 22 and 23. Part of that, we're crunching the numbers now. I mean, part of that is like this post-COVID, explosion, but that is just shocking. So the tide pools here on the left, 2022 and 103%, huge increase, and the cove not as much. Then, as I told you, our researchers are in the water. These are those transect counts. They found 4 times as many people around their transects between that year. So it's just out of control. The other thing we're finding, and we have lots of updated data on this, but this is to give you an example, it's year-round use. People go like, hey, it's winter, it must be low. No, it's constantly high out there now. Next. So we have a bunch of proposals, some of which I'll go into. Pathway management, erosion control, native plants, better, effective signage, looking at the impact of water quality, a DICE study, which I'll tell you a little bit about, mitigating the shower impacts. And then next time around, we'll talk about the bike path extension and why that actually is protective of the area. Next. All right, so we urgently need pathway management and erosion control. I showed you some of the pictures. Basically, we have severe erosion along all pathways. There is no pathway control, zero. Nobody tells anybody where to go, just everybody goes everywhere. Erosion causes sedimentation, damages marine life, including, as you know, corals. So good pathway management, which we are advocating for, reduces sedimentation, can support native plants, which are awesome, creates pinch points when people enter the water. If you're at a good pathway and they read your signs, or maybe you educate them at that pinch point, but we don't have any of that. And it's also safer. People are falling all the time. Next. All right, so this is so gross. This is where we hang out, take photos because it's so gross. This is right below the shower, below the bathrooms. And most of you never go down there. You shouldn't. The water just flows right into the tide pools. People are soaping and showering and baby butts and the whole bit. We are going to be monitoring that and trying to remediate that. And this shows you just some of the loss. It's probably 2 feet of erosion in a lot of areas. Next. All right, so I won't show you the whole plan, but SSFM has been working with us for all 3 years to try to figure out where can you close pathways, control pathways, and then potentially someday we could put in maybe a boardwalk so people aren't like pounding the sand, and maybe overlooks. For some people, they just want to see it and leave. We would like that, see it and leave, you know, there's no stairs when you go down to the cove. The lifeguards, as they are proposing a tower, they're just like, it's a slippery slope anytime there's rain. So this is a very detailed, shows you their technical work on the pathway. I'm going to show you just one clip next so you get a sense of it. We've divided it into sections. That's the bathroom roof right there. So you can kind of see the shower runoff, the pathways, and then what we're proposing to do is close off a bunch of those pathways where people are just jamming right down the cliff. So these plans are in process. They need a lot of approvals and a lot of materials and a lot of work, and you know, it's a long road, but we'll get there. Next. All right, so one of the things we have done that we want to continue to do is plant native plants. Anybody planted native plants before? Yeah, it's a lot of work, right? You just can't just pop it in the ground and say like, go, you know, grow. So you have to plant it out. You have to mitigate the erosion, put in temporary irrigation. But this is a before picture of just these huge gullies right north of the bathrooms. And we planted Naupaka, Ahuava, the Pohinahina is rocking. It's a lot of work. And we actually, when we have a budget, we hire somebody to do the plant maintenance. We're Adopt a Park, so allows us to do that work. And we want to expand that all the way up to the fire station. Next. So another example of what we're doing, consulting with urban forestry at the city, trying to get more funding, working with consultants. It's a lot of work, but we've made progress and we want to continue under our Adopt a Park agreement to continue that project with volunteer help, like I said, all the way to the fire station. And that's part of the plan. Next. All right, another part of the plan is really changing the way signage is done. If you've been, well, you've all been there, but most people ignore the signs because they're just clutter, right? And some of them are super old, they're metal, they're pretty easy to ignore. So maybe about 15 years ago, we started putting in these really nice, pretty colorful signs. They're MPW designed and then approved by the city and put in. This is photoshopped, by the way. That sign doesn't exist, but we're proposing it because there's no sign, like I call them big brown rock wall signs. There's nothing like that at Pupukea. And this one would also talk about the marine life conservation districts. Just had a meeting with Parks 2 days ago, whenever that was. So we've already paid for that sign. We're going to donate it. But we lots of approvals, you know, coming down the process, coming down the pike. Next. Okay, I'll try to summarize this. We're going to dump dye into the septic system at the bathrooms at Kapo'o to see where it goes. Where do you think it goes? Right? Do we need to do this study? I mean, you know, this is right. You know, we know where it goes eventually. The question is, we're going to map the plume and then we'll sample for Enterococcus and then we'll go to the next phase. Like, is it a problem? Is it not a problem? Does it need to be remediated? Great. Through some grant money, we've contracted with wastewater, sorry about my typo, Alternatives and Innovations, or VI. That's Stuart Coleman's group. Christina Comfort, who lives in Pupukea, is driving this project and working with Surfrider. So we're at the early stage of trying to figure that out. Here on the right, I just took this picture like 2 days ago. Woman washing baby butt, you know, that's what people do in shower as well, among other things. So shower project is another one where we're working with a university lab on trying to mitigate that runoff. Eventually, we're also going to be doing an isotope study related to Limu. So we got multiple plans here. Next. Okay, back to human use. So now let's get up to 2024, and we have good 2025 data too. We're just still crunching everything. It's still really high, and what we want to show you is that our counts are showing consistently high use all days, all times a day, and year round. There is no rest, except at night, or maybe eddy swell, right? And that's not so restful for them, but anyway. It's just constant. Here's something that's really important. It's counterintuitive. When surf is up, the tide pools are more crowded. Why? Because people come from Waikiki. 52% of all visitors to Oahu drive around the North Shore. They go, where can I go? They can't go anywhere else. They end up at Sharks Cove. So we get more crowds when the swell is, you know, up. Ocean safety counts, as we mentioned, 76,000. October 8th, which was fall break, right? Fall break. Jenny counted at noon 199 people in tide pools, and that's that picture right there. And you're only seeing half the tide pools. 199 people tromping around, and they're nuts. At one time, they're not swimming, right? They're tromping around. Okay, next. All right, so basically now I'm going to shift to very top line summary of what our Marine team has found. And we have we have a big Marine team that do amazing work crunching a lot of data. Bottom line is more humans, less fish, more coral damage, more damage to invertebrates. Invertebrates like urchins, crushed urchins, right? So more people, less healthy marine life. So some of the proposals, we have a lot of different proposals, some which are easy, hard, impossible, but we're shooting for them. We would really love to have a sustained marine research program. We run out of money for our marine team next month. They know that. That's not a surprise. We had the money from the legislature and we run out. So no more teams in the water monitoring. We really need that. Our Ocean Education Ambassador Program, we really want to sustain that. These amazing people are down at the beach, literally talking to visitors, doing preventive action education. We need better signage. The lifeguard tower, Jesse didn't mention it. We had a great meeting the other day. They're planning one for right there at Kapo'o, boardwalking and stairs. I'm looking at Andy. Then we want to reach for limiting visitors. And I'm going to talk about residents versus non-residents. But let's just say visitors, which is 90%, 95% tourists there. Hanauma Bay has all kinds of protections. If you've been there, or tried to go there, tried to take a visitor there, you know it's really restricted. So they have a cap on how many people per day. You have to have a reservation. They're not easy to get. It is closed 2 days a week now, right? And there's mandatory education, right? Residents do have priority though. So, and that's changed, it has changed a little bit over time, but you can get in without some of the fees. You can do the education course once, you can get in early in the morning. So there's resident priority. And then there's a parking fee, right? So these are just some ideas eventually to, ask if we can imagine the Kapo'o, there's 2 parking lots there, managing those such that residents have priority for parking and visitors have to pay and it's limited or reserved or something. Now, there's all kinds of challenges here. Spillover, they're going to park all over the highway, park in your neighborhood. This is not a silver bullet. How many entrances are there to Hanauma Bay? How many are there to Kapo'o? Yeah, so it's a super challenging situation, but we want to say what we want, right? Next slide, almost done here. Going back to some of the more recent data that Callie and her team have been cranking on. If you want to geek out on the data, talk to them because it's really good. So basically you can see more visitors, fish abundance goes down, species richness means the variety of fish goes down, right? And they're looking into now, like which fish are more what do you call it? Allergic to people. I guess they wouldn't say that, but okay. Next, we're almost done here. All right, we've done a whole bunch of surveys over the years, standing along the bike path with a QR code, trying to get 50-50 residents and visitors saying, what do you think? So this is one of the summaries. We were saying, what do people think of all these various measures? And what you can see, just look at the really high bar. Non-resident paid parking gets a lot of support, both from residents and higher support from non-residents. Non-residents are willing to pay. They expect to pay. They pay everywhere else. Resident only hours, yay, residents like that. Seasonal closures get a lot of support. Entrance fees, limiting the people. There's a lot of support for those. This is just a snapshot. Next slide, almost done. Now, willingness to pay for beach parking. And basically, if the beach parking were between $5 and $10, there's quite a bit of support for that. The caveat is people want to know it gets reinvested in the resource. That goes back to that discussion before about George or somebody, where does the money go? So there's a lot of caveats here, right? All right, I'm gonna get to the end here. All right, conclusion. So this month, right now, in December, we're wrapping up the science and the studies. We're doing our report for Division of Aquatic Resources, and then a formal report to the legislature January 1st, because it was a legislative appropriation. After that, we're basically trying to work on all these mitigation projects, getting all the approvals, consultation, coming back to the community. We're going to be seeking more funding, grant funding, personal donations or whatever. We got to continue all this because we're hitting, we just have this huge drop in funding because we've finished the project. So today we're asking for your feedback and the North Shore neighborhood support for a management measures motion. The motion is worded pretty broadly, and it's the same motion that was approved by the Sunset Beach Community Association. So, Chair, should I read it? Okay, so that's the end of the presentation. Are there any questions, or I'm going to turn it over to the chair? Do you want me to take questions, Kathleen?
Yeah, just a second. Waiting for board members to get back first. Okay. Just two things. I had the privilege of getting a tour from board member Antolini, and we went out at 7:30 in the morning. By the time we got back to the Pupukea area, right there at the stoplight, and that was like 45 minutes, it was choke people. I was, oh my God, I was shocked. In 45 minutes, it went from like 0 people to like there must have been 100 people there that one day. And then Board of Water Supply stands ready to support you guys in your efforts. So, okay, board members, questions? Any questions on this side of the table? Yes, Carol.
Testing. So, wow, great presentation. I had no idea. I'm kind of shocked to find out that there was a quarry. Like that's, I'll say, a little disturbing or something. I have a question, and is, have you guys thought about the idea of making it so people can't wear shoes and they have to go in the water barefoot? Is that even possible to enforce?
We've talked about it. I personally love that idea. It is so interesting. In the last 8 years, this has happened, right? Nobody ever used to wear reef shoes and tennis shoes and street shoes in the water. It's because they're visitors and they're inexperienced and they, right? So the question is, how do you ban that? Now, so one of the things we did in 2021 is we helped DLNR change the regulations for the tide pools and Cope to ban fish feeding, because people are starting to throw like Hanama Bay style. So I suppose you could say that the footwear could be banned. It would be a rule change. How do we do that? But it is a big problem. We see people just, because they're not floating, right? They're standing and kicking all the time. So we would love ideas about how to do that. And if you go in barefoot, then you can pay more attention because there's Vana. As you should. You should pay attention, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we welcome ideas on that. Yeah.
Board members, Bob.
Huge study, amazing to have all this data. You had mentioned at the beginning, there were 2 other documents. One was the management plan that Aquatic Resources, I guess, is in charge of. And the other one is the city council has a Pupukea Park plan. And my question is, there's a lot of fabulous recommendations that'll go to the state as a report for Act 31. But are there any conflicts with the other 2 plans with regard to the recommendations that you're currently making?
Good point. Bob remembers the beach plan because we all worked on it. So I would say that what we're recommending in the Act 31 reports will be consistent with the management plan, but boost it, right? Because we know a lot more now than when we completed the management plan. We have still a ton more data, a ton more analysis. The beach management plan is pretty out of date now. So I would say what we're doing is going to be some kind of an update to the plan, because when we did the beach management plan with the city, the erosion wasn't as bad and the use wasn't as much. But it's a good point to sync. And just one more point I want to add, social media has just exploded our area. And so one of our other projects is we actually have a small grant to do a social media pushback campaign. Hard, but it's crazy how people over promote, well, lots of places that we love, but right. So we're trying everything. One more point about Bob's point. Plans are plans, and we know most of the time they don't get implemented. That's why you need community organizations to push. That's why we need community members to push. That's the way stuff gets done. There's nobody from the state or the city, God bless them, they're wonderful partners, who's coming to us and saying, how can we help you? We're always going to them saying, we have a great idea, will you approve it? And it's a great partnership, but plans don't happen unless we really take the lead. I think the reality is we're trying.
Community, any questions from the community? Yes, Barb, please come up.
Was it last month we went to Lelihua and the Hawaii Tourism Association or what authority, they were there talking about the tourism and asking us, can they give you guys money?
So we have been fortunate to have some HTA grants. We are very, very careful with HTA funding that we are not in the business of promoting the place. And most of their funding is promotion related. However, that said, there's been a big shift in HTA, you all know that, to CNHA, which is the Hawaiian Council. We did receive a grant from them to try to engage visitors in our work projects, regenerative tourism. But that's not always easy because most of the people who are coming to Kapo'o are day trippers. They don't want to divert and get dirty and plant plants. So we're going to be working with Charlene and others who host long-term visitors and get them to reinvest. But I have to say, for HTA sponsored some of our signage, God bless them. But I just want to say that we really don't want to promote. We want to pull the HTA money that is reinvesting in the resource and education in a way that community supports. Yeah, great question.
George?
Yeah. Can you also use HTA funds for educational purposes at the site?
Yes, so some of the funding I just mentioned, we're using for our ocean education ambassadors. It's not a lot, but yes, we would love to have our OEAs, and you guys are wearing the OEA shirt, right? Yeah, the OEA shirt. We would love to have our OEAs down there all the time, and we just don't have the funding to do it. And they can only, we do, I don't know how we do, like 12 hours a week. Jackie does some hours, Jenny does some hours, Holly's down there now. A lot of us have done it, but we're probably at maybe 10% of where we want to be in terms of having the ambassador program down there, but it's super helpful. Yeah.
Community, Frank?
Follow up. How about
George? I'm sorry.
Mahalo, Chair. The Haunama Bay is managed by Parks and Rec. Collects about $7 million a year. My question is, like, how do you envision your business model? Are you going to have, like, I mean, if you closed off, you know, from 3 tables to Kapo'o, would you use a wall, traffic cones, guards, you know, and you want to funnel everyone in one place? I mean, of course, there's not a lot of parking there in the first place. I totally agree with, like, resident, you know, priority. They do that on Big Island too for other things. So, you know, it's great. I love your idea. I'm just curious, like, how are you going to enforce it? I mean, this is all about enforcement. Everything we talk about, enforcement, right? So how are you going to shut it down for 2 or, you know, 3 days a week? And how would you, like, keep people out?
Thank you for
Thanks,
that question. So first of all, it's not a you, it's not me, right? So I want to depersonalize this. It's about what the community wants. Couple of comments. So at Ha'ena on Kauai, where we've mentioned that we did a visit, Kathleen Raquel and I and a few others, They have a community stewardship model that basically does the management, and the revenue does go back into their initiative. And with that, they're able actually to they're building a new bathroom. So there is a way, that's with state parks though. So that's different. So right now, there are a bunch of communities who are working on this idea of how do you co-manage with the state such that the revenue comes back into the management organization. You've heard Karen Gallagher talk about the potential North Shore Shuttle. So this model is being developed. We do not know how to close it off. We don't know. We've been asking that of each other and our advisory group and all of you for 3-4 years. We don't know how to do it. We're going to keep working on it. The lifeguards close it. For Big Surf, they tape it off, they enforce it. It is possible. So we need ideas. It's super hard. You're absolutely right. Super hard to imagine. And also, we don't want fences and gates down there, right? How do we do it? So
Raquel.
I don't really have anything other than a comment of just sheer grateful and thank you to you and the whole team. Being able to visit there with you when we did our parks meeting. I used to go there as a child with my family all the time. My kids are 26 now and I've never taken them there, ever. And that can bring a person to tears sometimes because that's their space and have never been able to really access it. So I think it was really good money well spent. And if they're able to fund you again, whatever we can do to help support that effort. But I don't think it's even worth, I think we spoke that day about it was Hanauma Bay's closures. We talked in the past about rotating monthly closures of beaches along our coastline, not just North Shore, but all the way down, just rotating every month. And when you do reopen, make that first reopen week just residents and then open it back up to the public so residents can try to reclaim their stay there. But I'd love to see Kapo'o recognized in some kind of signage as well. And I think you're right. Our experience at Haiana really gave that vision of being able to close one end to the other. And eventually when there's a tower there will be guards there anyway that can help monitor. When there's nobody there and it's closed, I think there's potential. So thank you for everything you guys did.
it's a huge team effort. One comment, I know Blake's got his hand up, which is the jurisdiction. Where'd he go? Jurisdiction's super complicated. The city owns the beach park like at Hanauma, Pupukea. The DLNR has jurisdiction from the shoreline to the water. We have to work with everybody. And at Hanauma Bay, you don't go into Hanauma Bay unless you pass through the city beach park and go through their whole program. Well, that's not true here, right? You just waltz on in. So it's a matter of how you coordinate the state and the city and the community. Complicated. I know Blake had his hand up.
Yeah, before we get to Blake though, I thought Raquel teed you up nicely for your motions, so go for it.
Okay. Is it my motion? Okay. Oh, I got it here, I think. The glasses, proposed motion. Yeah, it's the right one. Thank you. The parks, this came, we mentioned that we had a site visit at Pupukea. So this motion came from the Parks Committee. Recommends that the North Shore Neighborhood Board adopt a motion in support of the Malama Pupukea Waimea's findings. This is long, sorry. Based on the Act 31 Carrying Capacity Program for the Pupukea MLCD. So also based on 2 decades of Kilo observation and surveys of residents and visitors that the Kapo'o, Sharks Cove, Taipos and Cove ecosystem and marine life are adversely affected by increasing overuse, primarily from non-resident tourism, and that urgent management measures, including closures for certain periods of rest and limitations on human use while maintaining priority access for residents, are needed to maintain the resilience, abundance, and richness of this sensitive area of the Pupukea Marine Life Conservation District. Therefore, we urge the state DLNR and the city DPR to collaborate with MPW on a closure plan starting in 2026 for restricted access for non-residents and continued biological and human use monitoring of the Kapo'o area. That's it.
Okay, we have a motion made. Do we have a second for Denise's motion? Okay, George seconds. Okay, go ahead, Blake, sorry.
Support that motion. Awesome presentation. Grateful for everyone's hard work over the decades. I hope that everyone gets inspired and can present at that level on all the different topics that we consider. I was just struck by the shower photos and then the dye testing that's upcoming. Do we have a general data point in terms of the volume of water that's used on a daily basis? I guess if it's kind of like city park question in a way. Do we have access to the water meter data for each individual city park? Because I think that's if you think about all the toilet flushes or whatnot, that's a
I think it's
curiosity.
the
And then
first
tied
cut.
to
We'll
the
take this-
dye
Yeah.
question, is our understanding that beyond putting it in the toilets, is there any other places we could put the dye
Yeah.
relative to surface water runoff and just to illustrate where things are ending up? Thank you.
Yeah, she asked me for that data about 6 months ago. We pulled it for her. So for that park, and I think Moimea too, didn't we?
Yeah.
Several parks we pulled for Denise, yeah.
So let me answer your last question first. It's really, really a good question. So actually, in consultation with VI, Wastewater Alternatives and Innovations, we've determined that the best place to drop the dye is in the seepage pit, which is the last chamber before it goes out, instead of dropping it into the urinals, right? Also, you just no need. It's the last point. So that's, we just right now need a right of entry. We've got our approvals from the state and from the 2 state agencies. The dye has been ordered, it's arrived, the team's in place, and now the swell is up. So, but we were actually just so close to doing that once we get a 14-day window when we know we can do a good detection. There's also interesting difference that we're going to figure out between like porous subsurface runoff, and then we have submarine groundwater discharge points in the tide pools where you're snorkeling and all of a sudden it's like fresh water and cold, and it's because we've mapped all those seepages with multiple times. We pretty much know where they are. So we don't know if the septic connects to those or if it's just kind of seeping through the sponge, right? And then on the shower, I was winking at Callie, there's a wonderful graduate student at UH who's dying to jump into the shower project. She's ready to go with her faculty advisor. And we just need to kind of get her started on that. And that would be measuring the flow at all different times, measuring human use, measuring where that little plume goes. So I don't know if we're close on that. It's just on our list, but yeah. And then what do you do then, right? How do you remediate? Waimea, shower, pools, and swamps toward the parking lot, right? Then where does it go? We have to figure out a way to remediate that shower water. There's also a real problem right at Kuluomawa. There's a water spigot that's just totally overused and goes right into the MLCD. So does that answer your question?
I mean, it doesn't have to be tonight, but I'm just kind of curious about the gallons per day that is being utilized, because that gives us a sense of the volume. And then also just curious if it's come up at all. And I don't know if dye would be the appropriate way of doing it, but to illustrate that the surface water runoff at the various points where that's ending up, to illustrate more clearly to everyone. I mean, it seems obvious anecdotally when you look at it, but just to trace, you have these major parcels on the uphill side.
Yeah.
I didn't know if dye would be the appropriate way, or is it just kind of like, it's just obvious by looking at it with the surface water?
Well, this is a first step. And even when we talk to parks, they're like, hey, it's not us, it's everybody else. And we're like, we'll figure that out, won't we? The dye we're going to use is going to be visible. And this has been done on Hawaii Island. And one of the places, was it Puako or Kahalu? Kahalu detected a visible dye plume within 3.5 hours. I mean, you could just see the green dye all over. This is benign dye, by the way. We would never put stuff like that in there. So it's just a first step. When we determine that, then we can start to look at other sources. Yeah.
George, did you have a follow-up? I think you had a follow-up question. Okay. Mike.
an educational sign about about stepping, because I know Punama Bay does it, just a sign, because there are people today who care about that and don't know about it.
We do have a ton of signs out there now. It's a new part of our, Jackie and Kelly, everybody's nodding. We started about a year ago with these soft tea tent signs. Jackie's been down there a ton, putting them down. We have about 12 or 15 out there now, 20 altogether.
Yeah. Oh. Well, just kidding.
Okay.
Our ocean education ambassadors, part of their, what they do is they have these fold out signs, and we have resident volunteers at Kalu'a Omawa that go across, and they go out and they put signs there every morning and every evening. And then each OEA volunteer has 3 signs. And so there's, at one time, there can be from the cove all the way to Kalu'a Omawa, there can be about 9 signs. And we just don't put them up as a rule of thumb. We don't want to invite any residents when the swell is forecasted to be about 6 feet. We just don't want to be responsible for that. But yeah, we do. We have them. They're great.
Yes, Bob.
So the overall motive on this was the carrying capacity. And I think the data is pretty well supported. Well, it's addressed the issue of how much is too much. And so that poses a question of supply and demand. One of the things that I personally think would help is if we had more marine life conservation districts and more parks. And, you know, nobody wants to talk about that, but I think that's really a part of it. It's very, very popular. I'm not trying to get out of our box. We're in this box. I like the motion. I'm going to vote for it. But I really think the bigger address to this issue of thousands, tens of thousands of people who want to get in the water and do this, we don't have the infrastructure. And I think the politicians need to come to the party. That's all.
Yeah, but I'm going to push back on that. I do not want tens of thousands of people in the ocean. It would be really, really bad for our environment, I think personally. That's just me. Go ahead, Sass.
Thank you guys for the presentation. That was a great presentation. I just want to comment on, I really like the proposed preferred access, the one area entry. I like how Diamond Head kind of has like a little shack where people kind of got to go and pay like $1 per visitor. Maybe that's something, suggestion could be at the beginning if we do one path or something, and then people can pay $1 or whatnot, or be educated there for a little bit. And then for the shower, erosion is so heartbreaking to see, especially over the years. But maybe for the water leaching, maybe we could do like tier planting of like a kuli or like kalo or something. But yeah, thank you guys for what you're doing.
Yeah. Can I just comment real quick? We were going to do Kalo, and then we were basically told you can't do that. Yeah, not edible. And anyway, II is our current favorite plant that we're going to get. And when this grad student starts the project, we'll do some control work, do some planting of II, do some mitigation. So yeah, and make it educational too, to George's. We want to educate people what they're seeing and why we're doing it. Yeah.
The tourists are a captive audience when they're coming. It's okay. I'm giving him something. The tourists are a captive audience when they're on the plane. It's an opportunity to educate them. I would say most of them don't even know coral was alive. So I don't know if it's state, city, or who, but you know that's an avenue.
It is, and I am going to tell you what we learned when we were in Kauai, because several of my partners up there, we met with a very dear friend of mine who is the head of the Kauai Visitors Bureau. And when I was at the advertising agency, we helped, and she worked with Ocean Safety on Kauai to develop this ocean safety visitor. And I can't remember if it was Denise or Raquel looked at her and said, "What about videos in the airport?" And she looked at them and she said, no, even on the plane, she said, "Forget about it. Nobody pays attention." And this is a woman who's devoted 30 years of her life to this. And she is an absolute monster when it comes to advertising local places. She hates it. She will not do it. And she constantly she will absolutely go after people like mainland companies that do it, like Queen's Bath. She will call them up and say, you can't do that. And she has no filter at all. But it was amazing that she said it really doesn't work. And unfortunately on the planes these days, because we can all plug in, everyone has their own devices, so nobody's paying attention. Yeah, good luck with that. I went the last few times I've flown. Yeah. But even with the flight attendants, nobody's paying attention to the safety talk. Yeah. Okay, we had, was there?
Call the
okay,
measure.
One second. Anybody else over here who has not spoken? Leif Anderson.
I like the idea of no shoes allowed. That helps 100%. The other thing that I have, we make decisions that push us, local people, aside and the tourists in front. We do everything for the tourists. If you go to Molokai and Lanai, the deer are overrunning. Why? Because they won't let the hunters go. Why? Because people love deers. We are pushing ourselves out of our backyard. Raquel said, my grandchildren have never been to that. They've never been there. My children, I could probably count it on one hand. I never really realized it's not my backyard. But even Ali Beach, we don't go there. Where do we go swim? In the river. We are moving out of our playground. Why? Because of influx of outsiders. We need to control the outsiders. I mean, they do it on Molokai, Lanai, Big Island, everything else with helicopters. We won't go there. But we need to control influx of people, be it tourists, be it people that want to move here because, oh, we love Hawaii, but we want to change it after we get there. And that's where it has to start. And it has to start from the government because they're not listening to us. All they're looking at is their bank account. And we need to do something. We talked about land taxes. Our land taxes, they're going to tax us out of our land. Yeah, I am. Because the taxes go to the parks. So anyway, there's control from the top that needs to be done.
Thank you, Uncle Leif. We had George, and then we'll come back to Carol.
Going to call the measure.
Oh, okay. Well, we still have some time and we got good discussion, but thank you, George. I do appreciate that. Go ahead, Carol, and then we can take a vote. Unless there's anybody else out here that would like to. Yvonne, come on up and after Carol. Thank you.
So I just want to reiterate what Leif said is that it is overused. I mean, my first memory of three tables is when I was just a little girl climbing up on the rocks there and or swimming under there's a tunnel that you can swim in, and Steve Albert used to take us there from Rainbow School and also throw us in the shore break at Waimea Bay for some reason. I think it turned out well for me, but the other thing I want to say too is that, humans are doing damage in the water, but I'm going to say that they're doing just as much, if not more, on the land. And I think that's a fact. And teaching people to, take their shoes off, wear a rash guard and reef safe sunscreen is, I think, really an important mission, and how to interact with nature in a Pono way, and not to say that, we're not allowed to, because it's crazy for me that a gecko can go wherever it wants, but I can't. And so I just kind of wanted to share that perspective as well.
Thank you. And who else was there? Anybody else? Oh, I'm sorry, Yvonne. Thank you.
I was just wondering why you can't limit the parking, like the street parking, and also even at Waimea Bay on the street, It's very dangerous situations when people are trying to load their cars, put their kids in the car and and open up their car doors. And then the other problem is people parking on the road waiting for parking to open up. It's a real traffic hazard.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Yvonne.
this ties into so many other things our community is working on, right? North Shore Transportation Alternatives working on the shuttle. The idea Kathleen mentioned, it's in the minutes about if you don't restrict parking. Let me just mention that we absolutely have to tackle parking and all the spillover. Some of you might remember when there was a rock wall repair at Sharks Cove at Kapo'o and they closed the parking lot for a couple of months. We got our time lapse camera up. We counted people in the tide pools. The number of people in the tide pools with the parking lot closed increased. Why? Because people are coming from town or other places and there's nothing to tell them there's no parking. And so they'll park in your neighborhood, in my neighborhood, wherever, right? So there's no system to control or inform people about what the limitations are. So, I mean, that's nuts, right? You close a parking lot, you get more people. So it has to be a system and we have to, just my personal view is, I don't think visitors should be able to go everywhere they want at any time. President should, So we have to tell them this is a great spot. We direct them like you would direct a child and give them a good experience, and give them a great experience, but it's not every time, everywhere, every place. Yeah. My own view. Sorry. It's not necessarily organizational policy.
Yes, but a popular one nonetheless. Okay, well, we had George actually call for the question, so we do have a motion on the floor that has been seconded. Do we, we'll have Zoidel take a roll call. Thank you.
Dave. Amy. George. Charles. Andrew. Raquel. Leaf. Saz. Carol. Debbie. Denise. Charlene. Bob. Blake. Kathleen. 1401 adopted.
Thank you. Great presentation, team. Thank you, ladies, for coming tonight. Great to see you guys. Okay, I'm going to let Bob, I'm going to give him 30 seconds to make an announcement because he's just been chomping at the bit all night long. And if I don't, he will cry like a little girl.
This is a piggyback announcement. This is about going to the beach management thing this Saturday. But before you go to it, there's a tree giveaway in Waimea Valley. There's an Arbor Day. They got 200 trees to give away, and you can do that. It opens at 8. So you got time to do both. That's my announcement.
Thank you, Bob. Yay. Okay, I'm going to ask Dr. Kealoha Fox to come up, please. Thank you for waiting. We really appreciate your time here tonight.
Aloha mai kakou, very short. Congratulations. Just a few highlights today. I know we're pressed for time. We just want to thank everybody who has been supporting the newly inaugurated members of the Honolulu Ocean Safety Commission who held their first meeting at Honolulu Hale, including our own here. Thank you. Yep. Thank you guys for also working on the Charter Commission. These are great. We really want to see folks get involved. You have until November 7th to submit and you can go online. There's an easy form there. And just like Chair had said, you do not have to wordsmith it. This is about the idea generation and there will be more time. So please do get your submissions in. And we're of course excited about the expansion of the Skyline Rail services that are always on time. And we opened up segment 2 just this month and we're seeing record attendance and usage across all of the stations that now we have 13. I have several updates. Do you want me to just send them to you or you want, okay. Okay, so we had one, for DPP, the documented access fees. And so, this was from George. And so DPP just wanted to make sure that they get more specific information regarding any documented fees, requests that, you're having trouble with. And they want to definitely address, appropriately any of your concerns. It was George last time.
George, why don't you talk to
Yeah.
Dr. Fox after the meeting and
Yeah.
give her more information?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. For Haleiwa Beach Park concerns, DPR, this is for the concerns about the Haleiwa Beach Park condition, particularly the lack of lighting in the playground area, poor maintenance of the showers. There were concerns about mud, houselessness, and just a general lack of maintenance. So DPR, did change the lighting, and is Kelly still here? Kelly's here. They did change the lighting. That was completed on October 8th, and then Kelly was able to document it to show that the lights are now functional. The District 4 maintenance crew is currently experiencing a staffing shortage, and so that's impacted their ability to maintain the parks at the usual level of service, and that's why some of these disruptions are being seen. They've also conducted new groundskeeping interviews with Kaneohe District Park to see if they can recruit overstaff temporarily to make sure that there's still coverage for the ongoing maintenance. We have a picture that was sent. George, this was for the Waialua District Park Playground, and you requested an update on the status and the timeline for the repairs, especially you'd taken a picture of the slide. And so the Waialua Playground repair equipment just arrived on island October 3rd, and the repairs are anticipated to be completed by the middle of November. Oh, yeah.
Great, we really appreciate it. We'll take a couple quick questions because I want to get Kelly up and Rep. Peruso. And then I want to introduce Joy in the back. She's with Rep. Quinlan's office. Let's give her a big hand. So next month, I'll get you guys up first, okay? Because I don't think we're going to make it tonight. We're almost out of time. Do we have any quick questions for Dr. Fox? Yes, go ahead, Cheryl.
You mentioned the rail. Has there been any talk about putting in parking rides at the rail station?
Some do have, they have park and rides, and some do also have kiss and rides. And so it just varies. The best way to look is on Hart's website. They do have a map of every station. It shows all of the accessibility features. Yep.
I'm still going to lobby for the Pearl by Leewood because when they lost that, you lost this whole side of the island, which could have been potential commuters. So it doesn't, I'm sorry, but it doesn't do us any good. So any final question, one last question? She'll be here till the end of the meeting. Okay, yes, Bob.
Just real quick, the city is going to improve the hairpin turn on Pupukea Road and spend a couple of weeks doing it, which is great, as long as they don't do anything to reduce the turning radius. A lot of the trucks that go up that hill can't stay on their side of the white line and make that turn. I don't know what they're going to do, but those guys who sit behind desks maybe don't have a reality check, or I hope they do. Somebody needs to watch up.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming tonight. We really appreciate it. And Kelly.
Aloha Chair and members of the board, Kelly Anaya from Councilmember Matt Wire's office. I won't repeat some of the stuff that Dr. Fox has already reported on. So Councilmember just wanted to thank DPR as well as the public for your patience while they did the renovations at the Waimea Bay Beach Park Comfort Station. That project is now completed and open to the public. I'm sorry, I kind of missed what you had mentioned about the Pupukea guardrail, but yes, the work is planning to start tomorrow, actually. It's going to be on weekdays from 8:30 to 3:30, excluding holidays. This is a project long time in the making. I believe I submitted this during Councilmember Suniyoshi's time. So I'm happy about it. I'm not sure what your concern was, but maybe we can follow up in just a bit. Councilmember also wanted to let everyone know that he did recently introduce Bill 56 as well as Resolution 25-228. The bill and resolution will provide the community a stronger voice in the land use process. Oftentimes residents feel left out of the decision-making process that directly impacts their community. This would require applicants for minor special management area permits as well as conditional use permits to present to the neighborhood board. The goal of these measures would be to help prevent future land use violations and minimize appeals before the zoning board of appeals. Both the bill and resolution are still pending in the zoning committee. Councilmember also introduced resolution 25268, which would urge the Department of Planning and Permitting to create a public database of all discretionary permit applications, which would include conditional use permits, minor and as well as special management area minor permits. DPP currently posts larger permit applications for the public, but some minor permits are not currently included. The resolution is currently with the zoning and planning committee, but has not been scheduled for a hearing. So we'll keep you posted on that. Also, resolution 25-261 regarding the Sharks Cove property on the Mauka side, granting a 2-year extension for their SMA major permit. The city is working diligently to finalize the acquisition for the proposed first responder center. They anticipate receiving a final appraisal this month and hope to finalize the purchase agreement soon. So we'll keep you posted on that as well. And then lastly, kind of touching upon HPD's report, unfortunately, about the domestic violence that he reported. Well, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and Councilmember was honored to recognize the Domestic Violence Action Center, or DVAC, at our full council meeting earlier this month. As you know, DVAC works to break the cycles of violence and promote healthy relationships. And as a former domestic violence prosecutor, Councilmember has seen firsthand the good that DVAC has done for the community. So he just wanted to recognize and thank them. And that's about it. If anyone has any questions or your approval, Kale.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me check on this side. I
sorry,
gotta be fair.
Yeah.
Yes, Charlene, and then you, Bob.
Hi Kelly.
Hi.
For the resolution 25-261, I'm a bit confused. If we are in a very active process of possibly purchasing the land, what is the purpose of it giving them the extension on the minor? I just was wondering what the,
For the major.
I mean, for the major, yeah.
'cause
What
it's
is the
set to
purpose of
expire-
extending it for 2
it's
years?
set to expire at the ending of the month, or I'm sorry, November.
Right.
So this, yeah.
They have a 2-year
It's granting
extension.
an extend. Yeah, so even if it were to be extended, it may help to, when the city does take over the parcel, it may benefit.
Okay, so it keeps it so they can
Yeah.
be used that way.
I
That
get
was my question.
continuity, I guess if you, yeah,
Yeah, got it, thanks.
no.
Same subject. What was the council vote to extend 2 years?
It's currently, let's see. It hasn't been agendized yet.
Denise?
Maybe I can jump in on that. I'm going to wear my Save Sharks Cove Alliance hat. So it passed zoning. Councilmember Wire is not on zoning, but he joined the zoning committee and made a wonderful statement talking about community concerns about the 2-year extension. So it's on the record. It passed zoning. It has the agenda for full council is not out yet.
Next
Should be out Thursday or
But
Friday.
It should be out on Thursday for
Um,
next week.
But I have to, so Safe Sharks Cove Alliance, we're in close contact with the city, members of the cabinet, the members of the mayor's cabinet that are working on this. And they have told me that they totally, in capital letters, totally understand the community concerns, and I'll be checking in with them once the agenda is posted to make sure that we are confident that this is going to happen and not that we're not just being strung along. I do want to say that our understanding is that landowner is pursuing it in good faith. And we have direct information on that. So this is really positive. So we're hoping that this will all be sealed up pretty soon. So we're not going to worry about any more extensions. It's going to happen. So we're
Thank
watching.
you. Any other last questions for Kelly? Yes, Raquel.
I just wanted to, on Bill 56 and Res 25268, thank you for tell Matt that
Thank
we're
you.
very
I'll let
appreciative
him
for
know.
those efforts. It did prompt a very healthy conversation with DPP, and I'm very encouraged by the movement we made in potentially getting, not potentially, we will be getting, we're just waiting for the start date of getting discretionary reports from DPP every 2 weeks. That would be whether they're minor or majors, that would come our way to be at least to be able to be considered. Obviously, we feel the minors, all these discretionaries don't come in front of us, and that's why we have everything around us that's not really compliant. So thank you very much for that, and
Thank you for your
look
support.
forward to it going back to
Thank
zoning.
Yeah, no, Raquel and I have been working on those two for quite a while, and so we're incredibly grateful to
Thank you
council
so
member
much.
for, I know it takes a while to massage these things into a shape that can go moving forward, and so we will be talking with council member Kia Ina to ensure that these keep moving forward and stuff. So thank you very much. Okay, at this point, since we only have 5 minutes left, I am going to, unless there's any humongous objection, but then I have joy and it's not fair. I want to be fair. And they'll get to go up first next month. So we'll get them up first next month. But I'm going to, if nobody has any objection, but they are both sitting back there. So please, if you have any questions, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. So 5 minutes early, I know. What a treat. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight.